All right, so I'm jumping into the next section, which is focused on graphing an equation. So this is going to, most of your test is going to cover these types of questions because this is the bulk of what we did for this unit. So this first one says, which graph represents the function f of x equals 4/3 x plus 1? Now, before you get it all thrown off by the f of x thing, remember that we can think of it as y. It really means a function of x, and so we would think of it as y. And the rest of it looks like it's already in the form mx plus b. So if I recognize that, I can clearly pick out my slope, which is 4/3, and my y-intercept, which is 1. So I'm going to go ahead and start with the y-intercept of 1 and see which graphs have a y-intercept of 1, meaning that the graph is crossing the y-axis at 1. So here I have an intercept of 1, another intercept at 1, intercept at 1, intercept at 1. So actually this one might not quite be at 1. Let me go back. This one, the graph's so small. This one may be a little above, but it looks close enough to 1 that I'll call it. So it looks like I'm going to have to go off of the slope. So the slope of 4/3, it's positive. So that's another thing I can look at real quick to see if it's positive, it should be going up, not down. So can I get rid of any of these? Yes, actually. This one is going down. C is going down, so it can't be right. And D is also going down, so it can't be right. So I was able to get rid of 2 of the graphs just by noticing that this is a positive slope. And it's going up 4/3. So I'm looking for one that goes up 4/3. So if I look at this first one, it's going up. Looks like it crosses through like up here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. This one looks like it goes up 4/3. But let's check this one real quick. It looks like it crosses through maybe here. So it looks like it's going up 1, 2/3. So A would be the answer then, because it is going up 4/3, and it's going up. Number 10 says, find the equation in slope-intercept form. Slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. Find the equation in slope-intercept form of a line with slope of 2 and y-intercept of 4. So the 2 things we need for slope-intercept form are the slope and the intercept. And over here I'm giving you the slope and the intercept. So all you need to do is plug these in. So you would get y equals m is -2, x, the intercept is 4, plus 4. So look for the one that matches, not this, not this. Be careful here, the signs are wrong. -2x plus 4, this is correct. The answer is D. All right, moving on to the next page. All right, it says, which best represents the graph of 2x minus 6y equals -18? So before I can check and see which graph this is, I need to get it in slope-intercept form so that I can tell what the slope and the intercept is. As is, I don't really know what that is. So how I get this in slope-intercept form is I want to get the y by itself. So I first need to move this 2x to the other side by subtracting it. Just remember too, some of you who have been struggling with this idea, remember to move something, you add it or subtract it. To get rid of something, you multiply or divide it, okay? So I want to move this 2 to the other side. I'm going to subtract it. So I'm left with -6y equals, I want to put it in mx plus b, so I'm going to write -2x minus 18. I'm running out of space. Need to divide everything by -6. So this cancels, and I'm left with y equals, pay close attention here, -2 divided by -6. These negatives will cancel, and it can be simplified because they're both divisible by 2. So 2 divided by 2 is 1. 6 divided by 2 is 3. So this simplifies to 1/3, and it's positive because those negatives canceled. X, and then over here I have, once again, a negative divided by negative. Those will cancel. And 18/6, those are both divisible by 3. 18 divided by 3 is 6. Sorry, they're both divisible by 6 then, I guess. 18 divided by 6 is 3. So, plus 3. Now that it's in this form, I can quickly pick out my slope and my intercept. So m, my slope, is a positive 1/3, and my intercept, b, is 3. So once again, I'm just going to check each one. If my slope is positive, the line should be going up. So A, the line's going down. This cannot be right. B is going up, C is going up, D is going down. That cannot be right. So really quickly, I'm able to get rid of 2 of the options. Now I'm looking for an intercept of 3. Well, this one, B, has an intercept of 1 to -3. So that cannot be right. I want an intercept of +3, so this one is correct. Now, before I just circle it, I also want to make sure that my slope is right. Otherwise, maybe I made a mistake with a sign. So I'm looking for up 1 over 3. So up 1 over 1, 2, 3. Yes, that's correct. So C must be the right answer because it has the right intercept, the right slope, and it's going the right direction, all those things. All right, number 12. An equation is graphed on the coordinate plane. Which equation matches the graph? So I just need to try and find m and b for this one, and then I can figure out which equation. These are all in slope-intercept form, so I can just plug in m and b straight into y equals mx plus b. So I'm going to start with b because that's easier to identify. There's no labels here, so I'm going to assume it's a scale of 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4. This would be +4. And slope, I need to find another point that this crosses through, which would be here, also here, also here. They're in a pattern, which is what I want. This is going up, so I know it's going to be positive. And I'm going up 1 over 2, so that's a +1/2. So the slope is y equals, I'm going to plug these in, 1/2 x plus 4. So I choose the one that matches. It's not 2x, it's 1/2 x plus 4. This one looks right. This one's wrong because it's -4. And this one's wrong because it's -1/2 minus. So the answer is B. All right, next page. It says, consider the graph of the linear function. It gives me a graph here. And it's asking me which statement is true. So for this one, I could go ahead and write m and b, so I already have some key features picked out, but I could also just read through and see which is true and which is not. So if I did it this way, I'm just going to go ahead and point out 1, 2, 3, 4. My intercept is -4. My slope, if I pick a couple points here, it's going down, so it's negative, and it's going down 2 over 1, so it's -2. So it says which statement is true. The point -4, 0 is on the line. So let's see. -4, this means I'm going to the left 4, and I'm not going to go up or down at all because that's my y coordinate. So 1, 2, 3, 4, right here. Is this on the line? No, that's not right. The point 0, -2 is on the line. So 0, I'm not going to go left or right. I'm just going to go down 2. Is this on the line? No. So what that means is these are not solutions. Anything on the line is a solution. So let's see. The graph represents the equation 2x minus y equals 4. And D says the graph represents the equation. So my only 2 options are an equation. So let's go ahead. I'm glad I did this now because I need an equation. And actually, these are not in slope-intercept form. So I'm going to have to do some thinking through that. So if I plug in my slope and my intercept, y equals -2. X minus 4, that's what the equation would be. So I want to see if I can get either of these into that form. So if I move the 2x, I'm going to have, I need to move this over, -y equals -2x plus 4, and I would need to divide everything by -1 to get rid of that negative. So I would be left with y equals negative cancels with negative, 2 divided by 1 is 2x, and then 4 divided by -1 is -4. Does this match? No, because there's not a negative here in front of the 2, so this one seems to be not right. So let's check this last one. If I move the 2x like this, I get y equals -2x minus 4. Does this match? Yes, it does. So it must be D. All right, 14. A student has $248 in a bank account that earns no interest. Looks like I drew a little bit on here. That earns no interest. The student deposits, that means they put in an additional, that means more, $20 each week with no withdrawals. That means they're not taking anything out. The function f of x, remember that can just mean y, equals 2x plus 248 represents the amount of money in the account where x is in weeks. All right, how much money will be in the account after 1 year, which is 52 weeks, representing f of 52? Okay, so this is a whole lot of information, but when you see this, and you see, actually if I erase this, f of x, what this means right here is that you're going to plug in 52 for x. That's what this means. So if you knew function notation, all you would do is you would rewrite this equation right here. You would rewrite it, except instead of f of x, you would put f of 52, and then you would plug in 52 anytime you see x. So 20, instead of writing x, I'm going to write times 52 plus 248, and then you would just solve and see what you get. If you didn't know that, you would kind of have to figure out what they're asking you to do. And what they're asking you to do is they want to know how much money will be in the account after 1 year, but x is actually supposed to be in weeks, so that's why you would use the value 52. And so you would plug in 52 for x. So you could think through it, or you could just know function notation and know you're just plugging in. Either way, we just need to solve this. Pulling up my calculator real quick. So I'm going to do 20 times 52 using order of operations. This is 1,040 plus 248. And I get a final answer of 1,288. And so looking for an answer that matches, and that seems to be D. All right, next page. Okay, which graph best represents the function y equals 2 times the quantity x minus 3? All right, so we've had several like this where I'm giving you a function or an equation and I'm asking you to find the graph that matches. Because this is multiple choice, you won't be doing any graphing yourself. It'll all be this kind of matching thing. So whenever we're graphing, we want it in the form y equals mx plus b. This is not yet in that form because I have this parentheses. So I need to, anytime I see this situation, I think to myself, distribute. So I'm going to move my work over here. So I'm going to get y equals, I'm distributing 2 times x, which is 2x, and 2 times negative 3, which will be negative 6. Now I'm in the form y equals mx plus b. This is m, this is b. I'm going to just make a note, write those down. It is good practice to write these things down just so you're going through the motions and have a better chance of getting questions right. So I want to notice first, my slope is positive, so I'm looking for a graph that's going up. So A is going up, B is going down, so it can't be my answer. C is going down, so it can't be my answer. D is going up, so it could be my answer. Next, I want to look for a graph that has an intercept at negative 6. So A has an intercept at 1, 2, negative 3, so that doesn't look right. D has an intercept at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, but I don't want to stop there. I also want to check for a slope of 2, which would be up 2 over 1. So up 2 over, starting here, up 2 over 1, that looks about right. Up 2 over 1, up 2, yes. So it's going the right way, it has the right intercept, it has the right slope, D must be right. Notice how I'm not just stopping after checking one thing, I'm going to check everything before I select it as my final answer. Because, I could have easily made a mistake earlier, and so I want to make sure that everything is right. If it's not, then I need to go back and check my work. Number 16 says, you are having a party. The graph shows the combination of balloons and party favors you can purchase within your budget. So it looks like number of balloons over here, number of favors. So the more balloons that I buy, the less favors I can have. Do you notice that? And then the more favors I have, the less balloons. That makes sense because I only have a certain amount of money that I can spend. I don't know what that money is, just given the problem, I could figure it out given the graph. It looks like my budget is about $20. Although if I buy favors, 15. So, oh no, sorry. Money isn't on here at all. It's just balloons and favors. So, anyway, the more balloons I buy, the less favors. The more favors I buy, the less balloons. So, if you want 10 party favors, how many balloons would you be able to buy? So, this is pretty simple. I just want to find on the favors axis, I want to go to 10, which is right here. And then I'm going to go up to the line and see what value that would equal is in terms of balloons. So if I look over, it's just above the 5, so maybe like 6 or 7 would be my answer. And sure enough, there's 6. It's definitely not on the 10 or the 15 or the 20. So it must be 6 balloons. All right. This one says, a student wants to describe the function graphed on the coordinate plane. Which key features describe the function correctly? Key features meaning, and you can look down here, slope and y-intercept in this case. So I'm going to go ahead and just look at my graph and write that down, M and B, and then I can pick the answer that matches. So starting with B, it looks like it's at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, -5. And M, here it is going down, so I'm going to go ahead and put my negative so I don't forget about it. And it looks like I'm going down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 over 1, 2, 3. So down 5 over 3. So 5/3, and that can't be simplified. So yeah, let's see what matches. The function has a slope of -5/3, yes, and a y-intercept, oh, let's remember point form. So y-intercept is a y-coordinate, so we can write this as, if this is xy, it would be 0, -5. So, and a y-intercept at 0, -5, yes, that's true. But I'm going to quick read through the rest. This slope is right, but this intercept is wrong. This slope is wrong, the intercept is right, the slope is wrong, and the intercept is wrong. So A is the best answer here. All right, 18. A delivery service costs $2.75 per mile. 275 cents. Sorry, not 275. $2.75 per mile plus an additional $35 delivery fee, such that a delivery of 40 miles costs $145. So this is giving me an actual point. If C of M represents the total cost of the delivery service in dollars based on M miles, which statement is true? All right, then it's asking about a y-intercept and a slope, but there is no function. So I kind of need to figure out what's going on here. So, a delivery service costs $2.75 per mile. So this means $2.75 is what I'm going to multiply by something, M, which it looks like, M, which is miles. So if it's $2.75 per mile, that's going to be $2.75 times M. So I'm going to just put this over here. 2.75 M plus an additional, that means we're adding a $35 delivery fee, and that seems to be a flat fee, so it's not multiplied by anything. And such that a delivery of 40 miles costs $145, that's not really important information, actually. If C of M represents the total cost, so what do I have here? I have the money per mile and the flat fee, so C of M is equal to this. And if you notice, this looks like MX plus B. Even though this is an M here, it represents miles, not slope. So now I think I'm ready to look through and see what my options are. So it says the y-intercept, which is B, the y-intercept, B, of the function is 35, and that is true. And the slope, M, this M, is 2.75. Well, yes, that's true. Looking through here, the y-intercept is 35. The slope is not 3.625. I don't even know where that came from. The y-intercept of the function is 40. That's not true. So this one's not right. And the y-intercept is, no, that's not right. So the answer here is A. All right, 19. Determine which of the ordered pairs are part of the solution set. And now we're looking at inequalities. So to see if that's part of the solution set, what you need to do is plug in these points and see if it is part of the solution set or not. So if this is x and this is y, this is the one where we've got to do a lot of work and just check it and see. So I'm going to plug that in. It's y plus 1, so I'm going to do 3 plus 1 is greater than 1/2 x, which is 2, plus 3. So I just want to simplify this. So this goes to 3 plus 1 is 4, is greater than 1/2 times 2. These 2's cancel, so I get 1 plus 3, which we know is 4. So 4 is greater than 4. This is not true. 4 is not greater than 4. If there was an equal sign here, greater than or equal, which there's not, then this would be true, but 4 cannot be greater than 4. So the next one is, so I'm plugging in y plus 1, so 0 plus 1 is greater than 1/2 times negative 4 plus 3. Simplify this. 0 plus 1 is 1. It's greater than. Okay, negative 4 times 1 is negative 4. Divided by 2 is negative 2 plus 3. So I have 1 is greater than negative 2 plus 3 is 1. Just like this one, this is not true. 1 cannot be bigger than itself. It's equal to, but not greater than. Okay, 1 comma 2. I have y, sorry, not y. I'm plugging in 2 for y. So 2 plus 1 is greater than 1/2 times 1 plus 3. 2 plus 1 is 3, is greater than 1/2 times 1, that's just 1/2, plus 3. And so I get 3 is greater than, well, 1/2 plus 3, I can just write that as 3.5 or 3.5. Is 3 greater than 3.5? No, it's less than, so that's not true. So hopefully this one is true. Negative 3 comma 1. So I'm going to do y, which is 1. 1 plus 1 is greater than 1/2 times negative 3 plus 3. So 1 plus 1 is 2, is greater than, negative 3 times 1 is negative 3 over 2 plus 3. Okay, negative 3 over 2 is the same as negative 1.5. Or you could just use your calculator here. But if I think of this as negative 1.5 plus 3, this is 1.5. Put that in your calculator to check, but you should get a positive 1.5 or 3 over 2. So is 2 greater than 1.5? Yes, this is true. So D is the correct answer here. Okay. We have some more situational problems, word problems. A lot of these, though, you're just kind of interpreting the slope or part of the equation. Okay, a wrestler wants to gain weight to participate in a tournament with a specific weight class. The wrestler wants a nutrition plan and weighs in at the wrestler starts a nutrition plan and weighs in at the end of every week. The wrestler's weight, so W is his weight in pounds, can be modeled by the equation W, which we know is his weight, equals 0.88 n plus 92. Okay, at this point, I don't know what any of this means. So where n is the number of weeks after starting the nutrition plan. So n, this is number of weeks that he's been on the nutrition plan or diet. So which statement is true? Okay, real quick, I'm trying to think what these numbers could mean. Okay, so his weight is equal to something times the number of weeks. His weight in pounds, okay, times the number of weeks plus 92. So since this is plus and we're getting his weight, I'm guessing he's trying to gain weight each week. Otherwise, we'd be subtracting. So let's see. The slope of the equation represents the 0.88 pounds. So this, if we think of this as y equals mx plus b, the 0.88 is the slope. So the slope is the 0.88 pounds that the wrestler gains, which is what I just said, gains each week of the nutrition plan. So that would make sense based on what my initial thought was. But I'm going to keep reading. The slope of the equation represents the 92.88 pounds. Okay, this cannot be slope because it's not 92 times something. This seems to be my intercept. So this cannot be right. The y-intercept of the equation, which should be 92, represents the wrestler's weight of 0.88. Well, we already said that was the slope. So this is wrong. The y-intercept of the equation represents the wrestler's weight of 92.88 pounds. Well, the y-intercept is just 92. It's not 92.88. So this is incorrect. So the best answer here is A. And if I were to make sense of this situation, I would say that this wrestler is starting at 92 pounds. So he's a pretty tiny guy. And his plan is to gain 0.88 pounds per week. And that'll hopefully get him to his goal weight. All right, next one. 21 says a kayak rental company at a campground charges its customers $10 per hour. I'm taking some notes here. Per means times hour for renting a kayak, and a fixed amount, that means same as a flat rate, of $2 for a bag to keep belongings dry. And here it means we're like adding. A customer rents a kayak for H hours, so H is hours, and chooses one bag. Which equation can be used to find the total amount C in dollars the customer will be charged? So total amount goes here. The total amount equals, if we're thinking of MX plus B, where we have a changing amount, MX, and a fixed amount, we can kind of piece this together. So it's $10 per hour. So that's my changing amount. And it tells me here that H is hours. So it's 10H plus B is my fixed rate, which is in this case 2. You're going to pay $2 for a bag no matter what. So I have my MX plus B. So I'm looking for an equation like this. C equals 10H plus 2. Not 2H, not 2H. It needs to be 10H, not minus 2, but 10H plus 2. All right. Next one. A travel agent charges a flat rate per group and an additional price per person. So I hope you're getting a feel here for these type of situations. These are all linear equations because there's one flat rate, which is your intercept, B, and then there's a price or an amount per something, which is your slope thing, because you're multiplying something. That word per means multiply. So it's a price per person for planning vacations. The expression, I covered it up. There we go. The expression 36p plus 1,250 represents the total price in dollars the travel agent charges for one group with P people. P is people. Which statement is true? So this is my MX plus B. It's 1,250. That must be the flat rate fee. So no matter how many people are in your group, you're going to pay 1,250. Plus, you're also going to pay this $36 per person. That's my changing amount. So it says the flat rate is $P, which is 36, and 1,250 represents the price per person. This is not true. 1,250 is the price of the group, the flat rate, so that's not true. It says the flat rate is $36. That's not true because 36 is being multiplied by P, so it cannot be a flat rate. That's not right. The price per person is $P, 36. So yes, 36p represents the portion of the total price based on the group consisting of 36 people. That's a kind of funny way of wording that. So that could be right, but I'm going to move on and see. The price per person is 36. Yes, 36 per person. And 36p represents the portion of the total price based on the group consisting of P people. This is more right. So I guess they were saying that the 36 is the people, but that's the cost, so this is not right. 36 is the dollars, and P is the number of people, so D is correct. That one required quite a lot of thinking through. There is not a question set up like that with so much, I don't know, I think the wording on that one was a little wild, to be honest. This was actually, some of these are questions that came from the assessment you took, if you recognize it from the case test. So these are important for us to know and go over, and there will be questions like this on your test, but not one just like that. Okay, I'm going to do this last one and then take a break. So 23 says, consider the linear functions. What is the distance between the y-intercepts of the functions? So y-intercept being the b value. This also came from the case assessment, so you might recognize it. So function 1, it's an equation, and function 2, it's a graph. So we should know that we can represent graphs as equations, and we can represent equations as graphs. So there's a couple ways you could do this, but since I'm given a graph right here, it might be easy just to look at this on the graph itself. So this is already in slope-intercept form, where m is 3 and b is -2. And I want to find the difference between the b's. Well, the b over here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, -6. So if this b is -2 and this b is -6, you could just find the difference, subtract. You could do -6 minus -2, which is plus. So -6 plus 2 is -4. Or you could plot this b over here on -2, and you could just count 1, 2, 3, 4. This distance is 4. Either way, you're going to get the same answer. Oh, interesting. -4 and 4 are both options. I don't really like that they're both options, but they are. Generally, distance is always positive, and that's not something you would have really known. So I would go with C, but honestly, if you picked B, I would not count that wrong at this point, because that's not something you've learned. But distance is generally, as a rule, always positive. Okay, so this next section covers intercepts and zeros, so I'm going to pause here, and we'll start with another video in the next section.